Mahlzeit! This is the Keynimalist, and it's for everyone who always loses their keys. In today's video, I'll show you how I built it and how I was able to save euros by building it myself. On an average morning in an average week, I get up, munch a banana, drink my protein shake and look for my keys. I really never manage to know where I've put them. I either find them in my jacket pocket, even though I've looked 10 times, or in absurd places like the microwave. If I look for my keys for 5 minutes every day, that's 30 hours in a year and over 100 days in an entire life. That's crazy. Now you're probably going to say,
"But Jonas, that's what key hooks like my grandma used to use her for."
Absolutely right, and that's exactly what it looks like. In Germany, we would call something like this Eiche rustikal. It translates to rustic oak and means the furniture your grandma has had for 50 years. I much prefer sleek and minimalist things. During my research, I found this rack here. I think it's a great idea, but just under 120 euros is just too much for me. It looks to me as if the strip is an aluminum U-profile with felt inside. Super simple. What I don't like are the open sides and the fact that there's so much felt in general. Here's my idea. I found a website where you can order these U-profiles in the right length. I want to drill 2 holes in them so they can be attached to the wall with screws. The 3D printed part will then go into the aluminum profile, which in turn will hold the felt. If everything fits, you can then press this part into the profile. That way you can no longer see the screws. I ordered the U-profile straight away, 20 centimeters long, because it fits perfectly next to my door. My mom even had some felt lying around in her basement. While waiting for the package to arrive, I already designed the 3D printed part in Fusion 360. It's basically an extruded rectangle with a recess in the center where the felt will go later. The bottom corners are slightly chamfered since the inner edges of the profile might have a bit of rounding. I also designed this. I'll explain what it's for later. A few days later, the package arrived. Unfortunately, the profile was nothing like I imagined. It had scratches and blemishes all over it. My first idea was to just paint it since I still had some paint left from the Snapbox project. But after doing a bit more research, I found out that to get the look I wanted, the profile would need to be anodized. Luckily, the site I ordered from also offers that service, so I quickly placed another order. Over the weekend, I wanted to 3D print the parts. Unfortunately, I realized that my colleague at work had turned off the printer before the weekend. Thanks, Jan. So I rushed to work just to press that one button. At least the printing went smoothly. Back home, I tested whether the 3D printed part would fit into the profile. It does fit, but it's still a bit too loose. By the way, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy my videos. I'll definitely have to rework the piece at least once, since the tolerances are extremely tight. Tighter than my jeans after Christmas. The package with the anodized U profile finally arrived today, and I have to say, it looks really good. Just like I imagined. But I'll need to be extra careful not to scratch it. Interestingly, the 3D printed part doesn't fit as loosely in this one, maybe that's because of the anodizing. I'm going to deburr the edges with a file. Now I'm off to my grandparents' place to put everything into practice. My workshop is in their basement. It's small, but more than enough for me. I wanted to explain what this part is for. It is a template to transfer and drill the holes precisely. Here on the workbench you can see all the materials I'll need. First, I drill the holes using a 3mm drill bit. I try not to apply too much pressure to avoid denting the material. The screw doesn't fit through yet, but that's intentional. Just wait. Next I countersink the holes with this bit so the screw will sit flush with the surface. Then I deburr the holes from the other side. As you can see, the screw now fits perfectly. As mentioned earlier, I lightly file the edges to remove any sharp corners. I cut a 20 cm by 8 cm piece of felt using a utility knife. It's folded 3 times, both long sides inward toward the middle and then folded in half again. Since it doesn't stay in place on its own, I glue the outer folds together with hot glue so it ends up looking like this. This is where the keys will go later. Finally, the felt needs to be inserted into the 3D printed part. Take a look at this. I'm really happy with the result. It's just as minimalist as I imagined. Because it's Sunday, I can't put it on the wall in my house. Germans love their rest periods. That's why I have a plasterboard panel in my workshop to which I first attached the Keynimalist. To do this, I hold the aluminum profile against the wall with a spirit level and mark out the holes. Then I grab a 5mm masonry drill into the 2 points and insert the 5x25mm dowels. Then I just fix the profile with the screws and insert the 3D printed part. It also looks really great on the wall and the keys are holding firmly. If you can think of anything I could have done better, please write it in the comments. But how much did the whole thing cost? The aluminum strip cost me about 13 euros. I already had the felt, but one roll costs 12 euros. But you only need a small part of it, which is about 40 cents. I printed 33 grams of filament, which is about 1 euro including electricity. I have no idea what the screws, the dowels and the glue cost. That's a few cents at most, so you won't go broke. All in all, the self-built strip costs 14 euros and 40 cents, so I was able to save 102 euros by building it myself. Insane, isn't it? For that money, you would otherwise get, well, 2 cappuccinos and half a croissant in the hipster cafe around the corner. If you're now keen to recreate the whole thing, you will not only find the materials I used in the video description, but also the free STL files on Thingiverse. Thanks for watching. Tschüss.